What is up, my bodyweight warriors, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over my kind of top 3 intermediate gymnastics core exercises. I've already got a video on the channel which is quite popular. This goes over the beginner variations for some gymnastic core exercises, building that foundation. Today we're going to take it up a notch and go to that intermediate level and hopefully help you out with your training, getting a stronger core and just generally performing better. Just before I jump into this video, I'm not going to be covering a bunch of different crazy exercises on this channel. We like to do things that work and things that work well. We don't do gimmicks. We don't do things you can show off with on Instagram. It's just about what exercises and methods give good results. These exercises, in my opinion, are going to be great for that. Firstly, I'm not a gymnast. I'm not claiming to be a gymnast. However, having trained in gymnastic gyms and also doing a similar discipline to gymnastics in the sense of doing bodyweight calisthenics, it uses a lot of those methodologies, which is why I'm presenting the video to you today. So number 1, the first exercise in this intermediate gymnastics core exercise is the hanging leg raise. Now, I would argue that this is just full stop, kind of like the king of core movements. It gets everything that we need to get into a core exercises all done in one. Now, the hanging leg raise is going to help condition the core, specifically the lower abdominals and also their coordination with the hip flexor group. Nothing else really hits it the same way as the hanging leg raise does. It's going to help for, conditioning the core. So say if we're going to do some backflips or some tumbling, it's going to help in that regard. It's going to help improve our general compression of being able to pull our legs towards our torso for things like the pressed handstand as well, the L-sit, the V-sit, all of those sort of things. Now, traditionally in gymnastic gyms, these would be done on something called the stool bars, which is a set of horizontal bars that run down the side of a wall. Now, for the sake of this video, I didn't actually manage to be able to get to a set of stool bars to perform this exercise, but that is an additional option that you can do. Now, if you are interested in the hanging leg raise, I do have an entire video on this because it is such a great exercise and it goes through pretty much every single variation you could imagine. There's tens of different variations that you could come up with for the hanging leg raise. So if you're interested, check that video out. Essentially, the main ones are going to be, leg position. Do you do the hanging leg raise in the tuck? That's kind of the easiest position, or do you do it in a straight position, which is the legs in front of you? And then you have what level of range of motion do you use? Do you just do half a leg raise when you're just going to bring the legs or the knees up to kind of parallel, or you're going to do a full leg raise when you bring the legs up as high as you can, ideally touching those toes to the bar. Exercise number 2 is the side oblique lifts. Now, this one is actually, again, another classic gymnastics exercise, a really great way of conditioning lateral flexions. That's when we move the spine from side to side, as well as the obliques and a little bit of like the lower back and QL. This is one of those movements that is harder than it looks and certainly can be a good indication that you have a weakness here in the obliques, something that's typically a little bit undertrained, especially in most athletes, compared to the front of the core, directly those abdominals. The obliques are probably going to play more role if we're going to do something like tumbling, which is, the importance of it used in gymnastics. However, it is a generally good conditioning exercise, especially if you want to work towards something like the human flag in future. This exercise is going to help strengthen those obliques to help support the future development of that human flag or other sorts of exercises. A couple of things to note with this exercise, what we can do is to adjust the intensity of it. The closer our feet are towards the ground, the easier this exercise is going to be because we're going to be closer to that vertical position. Try to maintain keeping that torso in a nice straight position. If you do notice any twisting, it can indicate a weakness in one direction or the other. A couple of ways we can change this one to make things easier or harder. Number 1 is by the height at which the feet are placed. So the lower towards the ground the feet are, the easier this exercise is, and then as we raise the feet up, get close to that horizontal position, then the exercise becomes actually quite infinitely harder. We can also change the ways in which we position our hands. So if we're going to hold our hands on our chest, it's going to bring the lever in a bit and make things a little bit easier. If we have the hands maybe by the side of our head, it's going to make more weight towards the end of our body, make things a little bit harder. Or if that's still not hard enough, you can grab yourself a weight on your chest and we can perform the oblique lifts in that way as well. So the third and final exercise that we're going to go over in this course series is the lower back extension. Now, in the first video, I shared the arch body, which is a great conditioning the lower back at kind of basic level. This one, however, this is going to just bring in a little bit more range of motion. We're going to be able to apply more load and do a whole host of things, which is going to help strengthen that lower back up further. Now, the lower back is actually something that is really commonly just neglected in bodyweight training in general, but is something that's crucial and it's going to help develop strength for actually a whole host of different movements more than just the lower back. a lot of power is generated in that lower back, and it's going to help create more strength over that midline, which is especially important for gymnasts who are doing tumbling and have all this sort of momentum and powering going on. They're going to need a very strong lower back, which is why this exercise is commonly used. But for the general population, as my good friend Adam Meekins would say, you can't go wrong with getting strong. Being strong is being anti-fragile, which is going to help you reduce your risk of injuries. Having a strong lower back is definitely a good place to start. When placing the support on kind of the hip bone closer towards the belly button, this is going to work more of the lower back. As we go down a little bit lower, maybe placing the support on the top of the thighs, this is actually going to develop a little bit more of the glute strength. So there's two different ways you can focus this exercise. I would say just start trying to align the object that's supporting your midsection on the iliac crest, which is those two bits of bone that stick out at your hips. From here, in the same way as the oblique lift, we can adjust the height of our feet. The closer down to the floor they are, the easier this exercise is going to be because we're more close to vertical. As we lift those up towards the horizontal line, it's also going to become harder. And again, our hand and arm position can also affect things. If we have our hands close to our torso, it's going to keep the lever short and make things easier. We can extend them overhead, and it's also going to make things harder. And also, if this is too easy, we can just simply grab some weight and hold it at our chest and perform some more reps. And that is the 3 intermediate core exercises that I think pretty much everyone can benefit of. The nice thing about these 3 exercises is they require pretty minimal equipment. If you're a little bit intuitive, you can probably do these exercises absolutely anywhere, as long as you have a bar or as long as you have something to secure your torso. Actually, a bench works quite well. I think Fitness FAQs has a video on doing reverse hyperextensions on a bench. These exercises can be chucked in wherever, and they always have a really great bang for your buck when it comes to actual performance and making you better at training. As I said, we don't necessarily focus on the fancy stuff, we focus on the stuff that gets results. But that being said, that is the end of today's video. If you do have any questions about today's core exercise, or if you want to request a future video, why not leave a comment in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on them. If you just enjoyed this video, you can always hit that thumbs up button and support the channel. Right next to it is that subscribe button if you want to join the Bodyweight Warrior tribe and don't miss out on any more future videos. But that has been it for this week, guys. I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a strong week and peace.